who are you really excited to see? Who do you want to see in the Olympics? And I immediately was like, oh, Vita Vea, of course. Can you imagine how embarrassing it would be if Vita Vea just snaps the football and then posts somebody up right on the goal line?
It's not out of the range of possibilities. I don't think the common human understands how athletic the elite defensive tackles are compared to even a semi-pro athlete. Vita Vea is the perfect example where he would absolutely moss like a decent athlete in any other league.
It is the meme of the European mind cannot possibly comprehend this, and it's Vita Vea catching a corner touchdown, toe tapping in the back of the end zone. Welcome to the opening bell of the NFL Stock Exchange podcast, presented by our friends over at Arena, the sports super app that combines DFS, social media, and all the sports news that you could ever want. You don't download that anywhere you get your apps in the App Store. Just search Arena Sports, and you guys will be able to find it. I'm Trevor Sikkema. With me, as always, is Connor Rogers. And Connor, as the good people said last week, NFL Stock Exchange never lets a good topical idea, or chaos, as they said last week, go to waste here. And here we have another great topic here of conversation as you and I, once again, going to go toe-to-toe, mano-a-mano, elimination chamber style, drafting flag football teams against one another, as it is now official. Then we get NFL players in the flag football Olympics in 2028. First of all, how are you, my friend? And second of all, what do we think of the news here?
I'm good, man. I'm excited about this. Listen, the Olympics around NBC are a really, really exciting time, and getting an event like this that is probably going to have a lot of star talent in it is a really, really big deal, no matter what you think of flag football from an entertainment perspective. It's obviously very different from typical football. We're going to get into all that as we start our draft here, going head to head in terms of what you're looking to draft, the format, the field size, the rules. But it's cool to me, Trevor, that it seems like the reception from some NFL stars is a really positive one, notably Justin Jefferson. Because if you think about it, if you're an NFL player, if you want to represent your country, you obviously don't have that avenue unless you think you can go take up a different event like track and field or something, where for the most, like next winter, we're going to have NHL players back in ice hockey in the Olympics, which is going to be unbelievable because it always was unbelievable before that stopped. Obviously, basketball in different formats, multiple formats. Basketball in the Summer Olympics is unbelievable. Like just what Steph Curry did last year, but it's every year. There's some kind of storyline. It's an incredible international game. Yeah, it is really, I think, going to mean a lot to some of these guys, and it'll be really entertaining from a summer perspective as well before the NFL season kicks off.
Yeah, I hope that this doesn't come off as like too insulting, because honestly, I would love for there to be a world where non-professional athletes were the ones who participated in these Olympic events, and we cared about it just as much. Like, it would be a really cool way for some people who don't make it to the pro level. Like, flag football is very different than NFL football. We'll talk about all the ways that is different. We'll talk about the rules, everything. We're going to set it up so you guys not only know exactly what's going to happen in 2028, but we, of course, have to set it up correctly as we are going to draft these rosters against one another and then have the good people, the addicts, decide whose team would actually win if you and I squared off here. But I would love for a world to exist where pro athletes weren't playing in these events and we cared about it just as much. But that just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. So like you said, like with hockey, with the NHL players now being able to play again, and with the NBA players, I mean, how cool was it to see all those guys out there for the Summer Olympics when we got to see that? And to be honest, now we get these football players to have the ability to do the same thing. And it's funny because what's the rule? Like, the rule is that it's one player from each team, right? I think that was the stipulation there, is that you can get one player from each NFL team. You can't double up. But I do wonder how much of a conversation is going to happen behind the scenes with some of these owners of these star players who are going to want to play in the 2028 Olympics. And it's like, all right, well, now you're obviously thinking about potential injury as well. If something happens to your star player, what that means for you, not just in the upcoming season, which will be 2028, but also beyond. Like, I don't know. I wonder if some of the stars are ultimately going to sort of like bow out if their owners are like, please
Yes.
don't play. But it's also hard to like. I think it would be hard for like Justin Jefferson, for example. You bring up Justin Jefferson. I think it would be hard for Justin Jefferson to watch what Steph Curry and LeBron and all those guys just did this past Summer Olympics for their country to come together and form this super team, and him not want to do the same to go get an Olympic gold medal and wear USA on his chest. So,
Of course.
even though I do think there's going to be some conversations between the owners and these star players, it's going to be pretty hard to keep these guys from being on the field to win that gold medal.
Yeah, it means sometimes it means everything to them, right? There are guys that, put a gold medal right up there with an NBA championship or a Stanley Cup or whatever it may be. And we saw this year because a lot of guys in this era of hockey, like the Kachucks, how much it meant to them. The Four Nations, it was an exhibition tournament.
Dude, it was so awesome.
And those guys are out there. I mean, think about it. Now, a lot of injuries did come out of that, and it's obviously a wildly physical sport, but it meant everything to those guys. It really, really did, and the intensity was sick. It's you think of the World Baseball Classic to kind of bring up the controversial part of this. I'm a Mets fan, as everybody knows. Edwin Diaz tore his patellar tendon in the World Baseball Classic. Like, tore his patellar tendon a month before the regular season, after a historic season as one of the best seasons we've ever seen from a closer. And he was celebrating on the mound. He just jumped up and down and tore his knee. So like that's the side of it that people will be, and this is a very agile, change of direction, twitchy sport. Like there is going to be, so you don't know, you got to make sure the surfaces are right. But there's much more positive from this. And I think guys are really, really going to embrace it. And the last side of it is, it's the whole thought process of, we want to see Matthew Tkachuk and Brady Tkachuk on a line together in the Four Nations. We want to see Lamar Jackson throwing to Justin Jefferson.
Well, hold on. Don't be giving away picks. Don't be taking
I don't
picks.
care. Like that's the whole, people are fascinated by that. It's when we get to see Steph play with LeBron that you're like, I have to watch this. I have to see this. This might be the only chance I ever get to see this. So it's really unique.
Well, it's the all-star events, but the players care. Right?
That's exactly
that's what it is. It's the spirit of the all-star events, but all of the players not only care, like deeply care, And so
yeah,
I mean,
try.
Right. I mean, I go back to, dude, in the Summer Olympics, Scotty Scheffler wins gold like as a golfer, and he's somebody who like never shows any emotion ever, and he's like crying up there like on the podium, like getting the gold medal. It just, to what you're saying, like it's going to mean so much for these guys, and I'm very, very excited for it. Now, flag football is different than NFL football, so that means that the teams that we are going to draft here, it's not just going to be an NFL All-Star event. Now, there's obviously we're going to draft a lot of stars here, but there's some strategy. There's some things to think about. And, as
Dan Moore is on the board.
What'd you say?
Dan Moore Jr. is absolutely on the board.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's right. I don't think either of us are going to do this, but I was on local Charlotte sports radio with my guy Kyle Bailey, who is great. And the news had just broke that this was going to happen, that NFL players were going to play in the Olympics. And Kyle was just like, hey, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but like, who are you really excited to see? Who do you want to see in the Olympics? And I immediately was like, oh, Vita Vea, of course. And he just starts howling, laughing in the background. And I was like, can you imagine how embarrassing it would be if Vita Vea just snaps the football and then posts somebody up right on the goal line?
It's not out of the range of possibilities. Let me make this very, very clear. I don't think the common human understands how athletic the elite defensive tackles are compared to even a semi-pro athlete. Like, Vita Vea is the perfect example where he would absolutely moss like a decent athlete in any other league.
It is the meme of the European mind cannot possibly comprehend this, and it's Vita Vea catching a corner touchdown, toe tapping in the back of the end zone. That's what that is.
And then hitting the gritty next to with Justin Jefferson coming off the bench to do it with him. And everyone's like, okay, this is a terrible idea. A great idea, but we're embarrassing everybody else now.
I will say, obviously, I had to do some film research for this exercise, right? I watched exactly
crunched the
one,
numbers.
count them, one Olympic flag football game, getting ready for
Okay.
this, just to understand the skill set of what we needed. And I'm like 5 minutes into the game, and one of these dudes absolutely lowers the shoulder heading into the end zone and just cracks this dude straight in the middle of the chest. And I was like, that's what we need. That's what we like. That's what'll get the Patriots fired up if we get to see one of those. Just running through their chest, first play, take the penalty, get ejected, play a man down. It's fine. You set the tone. You know that America's not to be messed with.
This reminds me, I played flag in college, and the refs, number one, were players on the football team, which made it really, really funny, number one, because they kind of enhanced what I'm about to get to. It was 8-on-8.
Hold on, you went to Albany, right?
Yeah, I went to Albany.
So Jared Verse is one of the refs?
I just missed out Jared Verse being one of the refs, which would have been really sick. But we had 3-man lines, full contact. I don't understand who made the rules. And this was a school-run flag. So we did full contact. You had to have a 3-man offensive line. And we did full contact kickoffs. So I remember one of my buddies.
Wait,
yes,
hold on.
Like you had
to
get the flag. You couldn't just tackle the ball carrier. But one of my friends that was one of our bigger players on the team, just ran down and broke someone's sternum. Like full contact block.
You're playing
this was kind of a wake-up call.
You're playing like frat league football out
This is
here.
how you know you're like 19 and really stupid. Like the thought of that now is just like, no one's wearing pads. It's the only non-contact part is grabbing the flag. It's hilarious to look back upon. But I do wish there was 3-man lines in this, because 3-man lines with no pads would have actually, like, there would have been some real art involved in that.
Yes.
But
Tristan Wirfs is absolutely getting drafted if that would have been the case. Just to have him
100%
stand there with his hands behind his back, doing the mirror thing where he's not technically pass blocking, but he is because he's so huge and he's so quick. This is probably a terrible story for an audio medium. Well, I guess this is a video medium, but we don't have like footage of it. So I also played flag football when I was at UF, and the one story that I have was like, the quarterback was one of my best friends, and so like we sort of like had that connection where like we practiced all the time, just like me and him, and I was the wide receiver or whatever. He throws me a ball one game back of the end zone. I damn near like Odell this, like one-handed over the shoulder, grab it, catch the ball, sort of like do what I can to like toe tap, like get my feet down. And I catch the football with one hand, and then I'll like bring it in and I take it to the ground. I am out of bounds. I am out of the back of the end zone by like 2 yards. And the ref just goes, touchdown.
And the
other team starts losing it. They are screaming at this ref. They are pointing to my cleat marks, how it's at the back of the end zone, and the ref is just standing there like not completely stone-faced, just hands up, touchdown. It was the cool factor. It was just the fact that I caught it one-handed. I wasn't even close. But you know what?
You could have caught it at the bus stop a mile down the road, and he was calling that in, which is that's good refereeing. Understand your environment and where you are.
Any aspiring refs out there, ruin the integrity of the game if it's cool enough. That's what we're telling you to do here on this show. Steroids before the game, and then of course ruin the integrity.
Especially in a flag league, they help a lot.
Okay, let's dig into some of these flag football rules. Let's sort of like give a quick rundown of what this is, and then we will get into the draft, because I think that's obviously the most fun part of this. So, first of all, a flag football field. So these are the Olympic rules that I tried to find the official rules that they're going to operate under in the 2028 Olympics. Flag football field is 70 yards by 25 yards. So compare that to 120 yards, including the 10-yard end zones. And then it is 53 and a third yards wide. So it's about half as wide of a football field, little less than that. And then when it comes to the actual field of play, is it? No, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be exactly. It's almost half of it. It's basically what it is.
Yeah, it is. And then you tack on the 10-yard end zones on each side.
It's still the 10-yard end zones, right? And so it's 50 yards of play instead of 100 yards of play, and then you have the 10-yard end zones at the back. So it is exactly half there. So the game is much more condensed. It's a lot quicker. There's a lot less time to make decisions, which I think will go into our rosters here. And if you just, listen to this podcast, and then if you haven't watched a flag football game, go on YouTube, look up flag football, like Olympic highlights. You can see how the game is played, and that'll go into sort of the players that we're drafting here. So essentially, every possession starts at every team's 5-yard line. The center snaps the football back to the quarterback, but then the center also becomes a wide receiver. There's 5 players on the field at one time on offense and defense. Obviously, you have a quarterback on offense, and then 3 receivers, and then a center who becomes a wide receiver after they have snapped the football. Or I guess technically they could become a running back if they run all the way back into the backfield. I don't know if that's what you technically call it, but it's 4 receivers and a quarterback. And then on the defensive side of the football, it's 4 coverage players and then a free rusher. And the free rusher stands 7 yards back from, I believe, where the line of scrimmage is.
Right.
And then they just take off towards the quarterback, and then you have the 4 coverage players behind him. It can be a combination of safeties if you're playing zone, safeties and corners if you're playing zone coverage. You could go man coverage if you want to, but that's obviously a difficult thing to do. But that's sort of how it is set up there. Every team has 4 downs to get from their own 5-yard line to the middle of the field. And then they have another 4 downs to get from the middle of the field into the end zone. Turnovers go to the other team's 5-yard line unless it's a pick 6 and you could run the turnover back. You could do all that. No running plays allowed within 5 yards of the end zone. So you can't just have, a cheesy handoff play.
There's no tush push.
You can't tush push your way into the end zone. So you can't do that. Quarterbacks can't run, even though they're being blitzed by the free rusher, unless you throw the ball backwards, technically like a lateral. If you throw that backwards, then the player who receives the ball obviously could throw it if they wanted to, and that player can then run it. But once you do that, once you pass that ball, then anybody can blitz, not just the free rusher. So you got to think about that as well. 6 points if you get a touchdown. 1 point conversion if you run or pass from the 5-yard line, and then it's a 2 point conversion if you're doing that from the 10-yard line. 5 players on the field at each time, like I said, normally, and I guess we'll leave it up to roster flexibility with how we want to build this, but normally you have 5 offensive players, you have 5 defensive players, and that's sort of like how you build out your roster there. I'm willing to see if you have some creativity there with how you end up drafting this team. And I think that's it. I think that's basically the rules and how we set it up here. Did I forget anything that I need to emphasize here?
No, I think you summed it up really, really well. I'm kind of curious how NFL players and coaching adapts and evolves to these rules.
Yeah.
Like, what wrinkles do they throw in? What concepts apply that they use now versus what doesn't? That's what I'm really interested to watch.
Yeah. There's a good amount of strategy that's going to happen here for this draft. And I'm very intrigued to see the directions that you go and how you emphasize each one of these players, because we're going to draft these teams against one another. And then you guys have to vote in the comment section who you think would actually win if our teams went head up against each other. So we'll get to the draft in a second. Connor, I will give you the opportunity to decide who gets the first pick, because, of course, it's going to be first pick, and then we're going to go snake draft style until we build out our 10-player roster. But as you do that, I'm going to talk to everybody about Arena a little bit more. The Sports Super App, we talked to you guys about it at the very top of the show. It is the Sports Super App that, like I said, is combining DFS, social media, all your sports news, all into one place, so you never have to leave the app. We're over there at Tampa Bay Trey, at Connor J. Rogers, at NFLSE Show. That's where you guys can follow all of us. We're doing all sorts of NFLSE exclusive content over there, both on the show channel and then our individual channels as well. Some of you guys have already signed up and followed us, and we'll follow you back on our personal accounts if you follow us over there. We've been going back and forth with you guys. It's been a lot of fun to see the attic community kind of come over to Arena, and we get to grow that out a little bit. If you're into the DFS side of things, which you should be, because they've got a promo right now where they will match you up to $200 of whatever your first deposit is. So obviously, if you deposit $50, they'll match the $50. If you deposit $100, they'll match $100. If you deposit $200, they will match you up to those $200. The shots on goal parlays, came to a halt, unfortunately.
Oh.
Hand up. We got to talk about the wins. We got to talk about the losses too, because that's how we get better, right? Sam Reinhart the other night let me down. Not gonna lie, let me down. 2.5 shots on goal. Thought it was juicy. Thought the Panthers were going to come out blazing. Thought he was going to come out guns blazing. 0 shots on goal, 0 points. Sam Reinhart, come on, brother. We need better. We need better. When I got cash on the line, we need better. You knocked out the Tampa Bay Lightning, my friend. The least you could do
Emotional hedge.
is let the shots on goal parlay hit.
Yep.
So, but that's fun. They got shots on goal parlays. They got points parlays for the NHL, but also if you're a big NBA guy, they got all sorts of NBA lines as well. But yeah, go check that out. Go download Arena, search Arena Sports, and you guys will be able to see the logo and exactly what we're talking about there. Sign up, get in on that deposit bonus match, and then follow us over there as we're doing that exclusive content. We'd love to go back and forth with you guys on that Arena app. So check it out and download it wherever you get apps, whether you have an Android or an iPhone.
Beauty.
All right, Connor, how are we doing this?
I'm going to take the first pick if you're
okay.
going to offer it to me.
Yeah. No back and forth. Yeah. You just take it. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Because
like like a thief in the night.
This is one of the times that it's not a huge advantage. Like it's not like getting Genty in the offensive rookie of the year draft or just Genty in a rookie draft this year. I think this draft's pretty wide open. But there is somebody that I have to have.
See, I have a player that I think is without a doubt the number one player to get.
Interesting.
And now that you say that you want the number one pick, I don't think you're going to take my guy, which is going to be interesting.
Right. That's why I thought about not taking the number one pick, because I have a feeling who you take number one is not who I would. But I'll still take number one because first off, we have to establish 2 things, by the way, before we start this draft. One, we're not drafting this for the year 2028, right? We're drafting this for today.
Oh, I'm drafting this for now. Yes.
Thank you. Yes, okay, I just want to make that clear.
Our teams are lining up this weekend
for today. Yes,
to play a flag football game.
That's just the easiest way to do it. There's too much projection with Jeremiah Smith, number one pick. Seriously, that could have happened. So yeah,
I didn't even think of that. So I'm glad that glad that we clarified that there. We will do that exercise in 3 years.
We will.
We're building up for it.
Here's the second part. If I draft a player from one team, can you not draft a player from that team?
No, I didn't think about that. Should we?
It is going by the designation of the NFL, but we don't have to.
That would make this very interesting. Yeah, let's do that. If you pick a player from a certain team, I can't pick another player from that team.
Okay.
Yeah.
The number one overall pick in the NFL Stock Exchange flag football draft is Lamar Jackson.
Okay. All right. Okay.
But that did take Zay Flowers out of this. Who is...
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'm just
kidding.
No. That was good. That was the LeBron to a T. I've seen some people, I like Zay Flowers, but I've seen some people really...
Listen, Zay's awesome. And
he is.
And honestly, in all seriousness, Zay in this format is
Makes
awesome.
sense.
Yes.
Yeah, but okay, so to break down the pick, I think the most important aspect of this entire sport is if your quarterback can just not be tackled and extend plays, because the coverage can just, how do they keep up? And these are NFL receivers in this situation. Mm-hmm. So you're just, the number one goal to me is how do you extend plays the longest while not compensating with arm talent at all. And I had 2 players on the board here for the number one pick, and it was Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray. And I think Lamar in flag football would be, he's obviously insane in real football.
Right.
I think he is unfathomable in flag football. I think his arm talent is out of this world at this point. You cannot tackle him. You can't run with him. He's so elusive. I don't see how anybody would ever pull the flag from him. And the differences between him and Kyler is Lamar has longer strides, where if he made a guy miss and had a long stride to one part of the sideline, I think that gives him better escapability in this, although it is very, very close.
I think both of those guys are, I think, the top two quarterbacks, although I would also throw Jaden Daniels in there now. Like I think
That's
Jaden
fair.
Daniels is
Yeah.
in that conversation from how he played this past year. Lamar would not have been my first overall pick. Lamar also would not have been the quarterback that I would have chosen. So, we'll obviously talk about that when I get to that. I don't have to pick a quarterback now until the very end because you get picked a quarterback. Although I did entertain the idea of the two quarterback strategy if you thought one of them would be good enough as a wide receiver, because then you could have a strategy where both of them are in the backfield. You could have one of them hike the football, run to their right or left, and then the other quarterback is on the opposite side of the field. If he gets in trouble, if nobody's open, all you do is throw it back to them. They then have the opportunity to run the football. So
Right.
I
It's
thought
very real
about the double
possibility.
quarterback strategy. I don't think I'm going to do it. I don't think you're going to do it. So
I
does
still
this
might take Kyler Murray with my next pick.
so does this mean that we can't pick Kyle Hamilton? Right?
Correct. Marlon Humphrey, anyone you could think of.
Okay.
Yeah, it's over.
Derrick Henry.
Right.
Just for again, to set
Off
the
the
tone,
bus
first
mentality.
play.
Yes. Yes. Run through somebody's face. Take the penalty.
Just run straight through somebody's chest, take the ejection, leave, but the other team now knows, this is not to be messed with.
The other team forfeits.
Okay. I have back-to-back picks now. I don't think you're going to do it and take Kyler Murray. I don't think you're going to do it. I don't think you're going to.
I really should.
I don't think you're going to.
I really, really should.
The player that I'm taking first is the player who I think is the greatest flag football player alive right now. Like, he would be the greatest flag football player alive, and that is Tyreek Hill. I genuinely believe that Tyreek Hill would be the best flag football player on the planet.
I think I agree with you.
The way in which he gets off the line of scrimmage specifically, because again, listen to this podcast, or if you want to pause it and please come back because we need the views. Our families are starving. Go watch and look at how speed of getting off the line of scrimmage and creating separation immediately matters so much, because the quarterback genuinely has like 2 seconds to throw the ball. And the way that Tyreek Hill can get off the line of scrimmage, get into his top speed, which is at an unbelievable rare gear anyways. Even right now, I went back and I watched some Tyreek Hill footage even from this past season, because obviously he didn't play as well. Miami didn't play as well. And I was like, did he lose a step? Not really. Not really. It's all still there. I think he's the best flag football player on the planet. He's just completely unguardable. So I will go Tyreek Hill with my first pick there. And I'll go with Justin Jefferson as my second pick. I'm gonna take Justin Jefferson. It feels like he is the poster child for USA flag football. I think that he is absolutely
vocal about it.
What'd you say?
He's been very vocal about it. Which is cool.
I mean, like I think that he is going to be extremely motivated to play this flag football game. He's going to be extremely motivated to win gold for the USA, and honestly, he's going to be extremely motivated to whoop your ass in this little scrimmage get together, this little recess get together that we have here. So. My first two picks, I'll go back-to-back wide receivers. I wasn't sure if I would do that, but it just feels right saying that Tyreek Hill, who, again, I think would be the best flag football player on the planet, and then Justin Jefferson to be the captain of this team there.
I think I would have done the same thing if I was you. If I had the snake 2 and 3, I definitely would have taken... No, that would have been it. I'm not even second-guessing it, because I went quarterback, so you didn't have to, theoretically. And then the two guys that make so much sense is, Hill's speed. There's just nobody that can cover him in this format, in my opinion. And then with Jefferson, the body control and the high pointing and the timing, I think it would be pretty similar. That it's just in a different capacity that nobody could touch him.
There's a little NFL street to this, There's
yes.
a little bit of an NFL. Like you said, it's not the 3-on-3 O line and D line though, which I feel like we got to bring back the NFL street draft at some point, but. Okay, all right. Those are my first two picks. So I figured that quarterback, wide receiver would be the first three picks. Like whoever they were going to be. I didn't know exactly who they were going to be, but I figured the first three picks in this draft were going to be quarterback, wide receiver in some order. Now that we got those off the board, the draft now begins with you having back-to-backs. This is where you actually implement some strategy here. So I'm curious as to where you're going to go with this back-to-back.
So I'm going to take Patrick Surtain the second.
Cool. Good.
Spot.
Good.
Because
you needed to.
It feels like undeniably he's the best corner option. And obviously that matters so much in this format, is just getting an elite cover man. Like an elite cover man.
Yeah.
I think the combo really opens up after him. I wrote down a ton of different names. So I was like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. But he was kind of this is the guy right here. The US would really need this guy because he can island your best player, where in this scenario, I would want him to match up with Justin Jefferson, I would think, in that scenario, where eventually I'd want... There's more strategy. We'll get into it when the teams are complete. But Surtain's going to be my second pick because of the supply situation. Number 3. This is going to be interesting.
Can't pick anybody on the team that's already been picked.
No. I'm going to take Jamar Chase.
Okay. Ooh, okay. Yeah. One-on-one God, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Just a one-on-one God.
It wasn't easy, though, that spot. There's a couple other guys that were really, I was really torn between. But if I didn't take him, I just wouldn't have that alpha number 1 wide receiver, and you have 2 of them already. So I need that difference maker in Chase.
All right, Patrick Surtain, Jamar Chase. Okay, this has not interfered. The whole okay, you're picking somebody of one team, now you can't pick anybody else from that team. That has not come into play yet, and that won't come into play with my next 2 picks here either. But Patrick Surtain, it's interesting with you picking him because he is somebody who can play both off coverage and man coverage.
Yeah.
And man coverage in flag football is kind of tricky because you really either have to have a full roster that's just dedicated to man coverage, or you won't really be able to play too much of it at all. But there are situations where, against my team specifically, you could maybe do the basketball box and one, and the one is you're trying to shut down Justin Jefferson, and then you're trying to play some sort of cap coverage on Tyreek Hill,
That's
or you're
what
trying to play some sort of rotating coverage one way or the other. So that part of it is interesting. Jamar Chase is interesting too, because I think that for as much as you want really good route runners and really good quick separators, guys who could win immediately, you also need contested catch guys. You need contested catch monsters.
Think of who my quarterback is.
Yeah.
I'm asking Lamar Jackson to run around for a really long time and throw up the ball to someone. I'd rather that be Jamar Chase.
Right. And Jamar, I think when people think of the contested catch wide receivers, they think a lot of the guys that tower over. I'm not going to say names because I'm not going to give you any hints about who's still left on my board. But Jamar Chase is one of those dudes who it's okay, he's not the biggest wide receiver in the NFL, but my God, he is just like I said, he's a one-on-one God. He is. You put him in single coverage so many times, he's just going to come down with it, and you're going to be very happy with the results there. So, all right, you've got Lamar Jackson, you've got Patrick Surtain, you got Jamar Chase. I have Tyreek Hill and Justin Jefferson. My next 2 picks are both safeties. I'm knocking safety out because as I watched some of the flag football game that I was using as prep here, you have to have a deep safety and you have to have a robber safety. If you're playing zone coverage, which I'm building my team around playing zone coverage, especially with you taking Patrick Surtain, there's one other player that you could get, I think, that allows you to really play man coverage if you wanted to. But I think I'm going to play a lot more zone. And with zone, I want a robber. I want a guy who is just going to, free of mind, come downhill and hunt the football over the middle. And then I want some guy on the back end who's got a high football IQ and somebody who can get from sideline to sideline, which you especially have the ability to do if they're quick, with this only being 25 yards sideline to sideline. Jesse Bates is one pick.
Okay.
Antoine Winfield Jr. is the other.
Okay.
Antoine Winfield Jr. is going to play my single high safety. He's going to be the deep safety because his shorter legs allows him to get his feet in the ground quicker. He can chop his feet quicker, and you can get from one point to the sideline quicker, even without super long strides. And he's an incredibly high IQ football player and anticipates where the ball is going very, very well. And then Jesse Bates, I don't think there's a safety in the NFL better at roaming the middle of the field than Jesse Bates. Him and Xavier Watts this year in Atlanta, both of those guys being able to do that at any time as the up safety or the down safety, I am so excited to watch them in the same defense. I think that is a phenomenal pairing that's going to be great to watch for years to come. And I really do think that there's no better middle of the field. I don't want to say enforcer, I'll say ball hawk than what Jesse Bates has been over the last 3 or 4 years. So Jesse Bates, Antoine Winfield Jr., those are my back-to-back picks there. And those are my two safeties that I'm extremely happy to get here in this format.
This is really fun because we're building our teams differently, which is kind of the best entertainment factor of this. And I'm obviously kind of with my pick of Surtain, I want somebody that I think can match up on an island against receivers in flag football, which is a huge ask. And I want a quarterback that can extend and throw the ball down the field. I think you have some quicker separators and guys that can kind of roam in the zone. So it's really cool to see us like taking a different approach. And it kind of makes you wonder ultimately what the committee is going to do in this scenario. They might just star hunt too. They might be like, hey, if you're the biggest star in the league, you go come play on the team.
Yeah.
But this kind of shows like if there was a off-season flag league, how a GM of a flag team could operate for this scenario.
I'm just thinking right now, Jeremiah Smith is absolutely playing for this team in 2020.
I mean, yeah.
Jeremiah Smith is 1,000% like actually playing for this team in 2020.
That's why I asked the question, because I knew the comments would be like, why didn't you guys take him?
I mean, you can still draft him if you want.
No. I'm not going to. I'm only going to do...
You can't take anybody else from Ohio State, that means, so.
Right.
So you can't take Caleb Downs.
Oh, man, who would be sick in this?
Who would actually be absolutely sick in this? Yeah, there's no doubt about it. So just from what I did there by taking Jesse Bates and Antoine Winfield Jr., Mike Evans and Drake London now can no longer be picked.
Good call out.
So that hurts my heart deeply.
Right.
Because I would have loved nothing more than to get Mike Evans on this football team. But I have other options there. I didn't feel as confident about drafting safeties that weren't Antoine Winfield Jr. and Jesse Bates.
All right, so I have back-to-back picks here. My team is Lamar Jackson, Patrick Surtain the second, Jamar Chase.
Yes.
One of my picks is going to be Travis Hunter.
Okay.
Which takes Brian Thomas Jr. off the board.
Who I thought about.
I was going to say, I was actually really thinking about him. Why I like Hunter so much is because you could substitute. Like, you don't need two-way players. It's a nice thing to have in this. It's not a necessity. I think Hunter in this format would be insane. Hunter is not straight line speed. He's twitch and change of direction.
He is.
And I am obviously having him play plenty of wide receiver, but I want him to play safety for me. That's my whole thought with this pick.
Are you going to have him to play free safety for you? Like deep safety?
Yes. Okay. I think this is somebody that the ball skills in this would just be out of this world.
Okay.
And the fact that now I kind of have a little bit of a hybrid piece that can play both sides of the ball is just a nice little touch in all of this. But I think the bigger factor is that I think Hunter, his style of defense would be insanely effective in this. And you went back-to-back safeties already, so I didn't really like how that looks, but now I get somebody that I think is a really good wide receiver in this format, but also a really good defender.
This also, not that I want to encourage you, but I think if one of us were to pick two quarterbacks, that person would have had to pick Travis Hunter, right? Because, like,
Yes.
You have to make up for that roster spot somewhere.
Right.
So you would,
and
you
that's
would
why
basically,
I'm taking Kyler Murray here.
you, are you, if you were, I was going to be like, look, man,
No, it's
I
not.
can't
It's just
hate
not
it.
fun. No, it's just not fun. I'm not going to do that. But
I can't wait for USA to actually do that. Flag football's version of Herb Brooks to actually do that.
there is a world where they just say screw it and they just run that 2-quarterback system and total. I don't think they need to game the system though.
I wonder how deep the roster is going to be. You know, like you only get 10 that you get to dress, but like
who's the taxi squad?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, are they gonna keep like 16 guys or something?
Yeah, they're gonna run like a real camp and like scratch guys.
That's what I'm saying. You know,
it's a good question.
Got to have the guys in reserve. You know, what if somebody gets hurt?
That who ultimately gets like exceptions to play for other countries. It's gonna be really interesting. Yeah. So
Jordan Mailata is going to play wide receiver for, what is it, New Zealand or is it Australia? I think it's New Zealand.
I think so too.
Is it? Now I got to double check.
But yeah, but that's one that like, sure. I'm talking about the guys that are just like, yeah, my great grandpa is from Italy. So now I'm on the Italian team. Which, hey, power to you if you do that. You get do the Olympics.
Was Ashton Janty born in Italy? Or did he just play high school ball in Italy?
He grew up in Italy, and then he finished his high school career in Texas, but he did play a lot of football in Italy.
But was he born in Italy?
No. Okay. I don't think so. Okay. And like where was Genty born? He was born in Jacksonville. But that team he played on, they traveled around Europe and played. So he was just like punking like all kinds of different countries.
Much to the chagrin.
Yeah.
Of the Sicilian.
Switzerland when Ashton Genty shows up. Come on, again? He just destroyed Germany 2 weeks ago. France is like, we're not.
No, France is like, we'll give you the win.
Yeah.
We'll give you the win. Save the embarrassment. Okay, so Travis Hunter off the board. Who's next?
Next is...
Neither of us have picked a free rusher yet.
No, neither of us have done that. Am I nuts for thinking like I could ask someone else to do that? It's that I'm not going to, but it wasn't on my priority list.
There is a skill set needed to be a good free rusher, though.
I have one player on my big board would surprise a lot of people. We'll see if I end up having to take him.
I have two players that I think might surprise people.
So my final pick of the back-to-back here, after taking Travis Hunter.
God, don't do it. Don't do it. You're going to take him from me.
No, I'm not. I know who you want. I am going to take Jahmyr Gibbs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, you're surprised by that?
Well, I'm not. I don't think I will pick a running back.
Interesting.
I don't think I will pick a running back.
Interesting.
Because you don't really have to have one. You can. You can.
I'm thinking about a player that I want in space that makes people miss and has 4.3 wheels.
And that's Gibbs. Yeah. Right? Like that's absolutely Gibbs. I can totally give you that. I could totally see that. I thought about him. I thought about Bijan. I thought about McCaffrey. You know,
well, Achane before you took Tyreek was in play for me.
Oh, okay.
And he is a guy that is going to have 500 plus receiving yards every year.
Damn, Gibbs. Gibbs takes St. Brown off the board.
Yep.
For the quick hit, he was on the big board. Could have picked him. All right.
Kirby Joseph, Aiden Hutchinson, just throwing guys that are like
Aiden just to rush, I mean, you talk about a guy who would absolutely just give it all for his country. Yeah, Aiden Hutchinson.
You don't have to question about any plays being taken.
Aiden Hutchinson, man. Okay. All right, Jahmyr Gibbs off the board here. Man, what am I going to go with next?
I think I know your next pick, and I wasn't going to do that to you.
Derek Stingley Jr. is one of them.
That was who I thought about taking Stingley to have 2 shutdown corners, but I actually just really like the corner board right now. Like
I
Surtain
do
was the
too.
guy. I had Surtain in a tier of his own,
Yeah.
but then I had like 6 guys that I put in the same tier. So I was like, I don't need to do that this early.
And I want a contested catch receiver.
Right. And two of the best ones just got
And
wiped
two
off
of the
the board
best are
from your
gone.
picks.
I'm gonna take AJ. I'm gonna take AJ Brown. Nobody's picked an Eagle yet, right?
Nobody has picked an Eagle. No.
Okay. Yeah, Derek Stingley Jr. because I want somebody, if I need to sort of say, hey, you go guard that dude, make sure he doesn't catch the football. I feel like Stingley Jr. can do that. However, I don't think Derek Stingley Jr. gets enough credit for playing off coverage, like zone coverage, the way that he's been able to over the last couple of years, because he was known really as a press man corner throughout his entire 3 years when he was at LSU. He obviously plays press man coverage, but they also use him in off coverage quite a bit while he's with Houston. And for doing some research with this, I used the PFF Ultimate tool to sort of like sift through, okay, what are these corners' grades and how have they fared in off zone coverage assignments, like a lot of cover 3 stuff, a lot of quarter stuff. And Derek Stingley Jr. is still very good at that. So I wanted to get Stingley Jr. because he's got a little bit of versatility to him. So I will take him there. And then AJ Brown. So I don't know if you saw this, Connor, but I recently ranked the top 32 wide receivers going into the 2025 NFL season. And I had AJ Brown as my number 1 wide receiver.
Wow.
And I promise people I did not do that to be hot takey. I purposely put tiers into that list. And tier 1 is AJ Brown, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. I don't care. You can ask all 3 of those guys to do anything: win from the sideline, win from the slot, win on the line of scrimmage, win off the line of scrimmage, win against off coverage, win against press coverage and man coverage, anything. You can ask those guys to do it and they will all be able to do it for you. However, AJ Brown, from a 3-year sample size, has the number 1 grade in the NFL against single coverage situations. He has a very high contested catch percentage, a ton of contested catches, less drops than both Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. He has more receiving yards than Jamar Chase does, despite having like 350 less receiving snaps than Jamar Chase has over the last 3 years. He has the most yards per reception. I don't know if he has the most yards after catch, but I think it goes Jamar Chase and then AJ Brown, even above Justin Jefferson. Like, the more research I did, the more I felt like I had to come to the conclusion that if you think all 3 of these guys are in the same bucket, which some people don't, I do. But if you think that they're all in the same bucket, AJ legitimately has the numbers to be number 1 amongst those 3. So I have him as number 1. And when it comes to getting a red zone contested catch monster, that's what AJ Brown would be on this flag football team for me.
You need those kinds of players in this format. You need somebody that can make a play in the red zone above the rim.
And against single coverage specifically.
Right.
And nobody has been better than AJ Brown. Whether it was just last year, he was number 1 in the NFL. Or in a 3-year sample size, number 1 in the NFL. So, yep. Derek Stingley Jr., AJ Brown. Those are my 2 picks there.
So that takes Nico Collins out of this.
It does indeed.
Who's an interesting option.
Yep.
Obviously, Saquon, Devontae Smith are off the board as well. So, all right. Derek Stingley and AJ Brown. I have back-to-back picks here. Man.
You're halfway through.
Halfway through. I currently have 1 full-time corner, a quarterback, a full-time receiver, Jahmyr Gibbs, who is just kind of my in-space player, and then Travis Hunter, who I truly am going to play on both sides of the ball in this scenario. Probably more safety than actual corner.
I think almost all of the obvious stud players and or their teammates making them no longer available are sort of off the board. So I think the second half of this draft is all just going to be strategy from us.
Yeah, we have kind of, and a reminder, if you're jumping around here, we cannot draft more than 1 player from 1 team, counting Trevor and I.
Yes.
So For instance, he took Tyreek Hill. I can't take Jalen Waddle or Devon Achane.
Who, man,
Right.
Jalen Waddle. I mean, the Dolphins are basically just an elite flag football team.
Oh, I mean, it's how Mike McDaniel built his offense.
100%. 100%.
It is kind of funny to think about it. They truly are.
I mean, you can't pick Jalen Ramsey either.
No,
I'm sitting here during this podcast begging the Dolphins to trade Jalen Ramsey while we are recording so I can draft him.
So you could swoop in.
Which would be an incredible turn of events if that actually happened.
All right, so one of my picks here, man, this is tricky. One of my picks here is going to be Brock Bowers.
Ooh.
Because...
Okay. Is he going to snap for you?
That would make a lot of sense. But then in the red zone, he's just a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know in this form. He is so difficult to cover in the red zone. And I have Jamar Chase, but I don't really have great size for the red zone right now. Like, you knocked out the ability to take Drake London and Mike Evans pretty early. I took Jamar Chase. He's the one big red zone presence I have. But no Nico Collins. You took A.J. Brown. It goes quick. So Brock Bowers is going to be like a real red zone weapon for me.
Okay.
In this spot.
Okay.
So now my offense right now looks like Lamar Jackson, Jamar Chase, Jahmyr Gibbs, Brock Bowers, part-time Travis Hunter. I have this fun swing piece here. This really fun swing piece here.
He could just run onto the field at any time.
Yeah. He really can. Try to stop him. Okay. And now, kind of looking back at the defense, man, this one might surprise people a little bit. I'm torn in the spot between two players, which is annoying me, honestly. It's annoying me a lot. All right, I'll go back to this so I don't have to make a decision. This is such a coward's move of this, but I'm going to take CeeDee Lamb here.
Okay.
Because I didn't think you were going to take another receiver yet, but man, if you took CeeDee and you had him, Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, and AJ Brown, it's just...
Yeah, I was about to put you in a body bag because I was going to take him.
Okay, so I'm glad I thought of that.
Yeah.
I kept thinking like, man, is he forgetting about CeeDee Lamb and I could just steal him at the last pick? And then I'm like, I need to stop playing with my food here.
Yeah.
And I need to take CeeDee Lamb. So my offense is now officially done with Lamar Jackson, Jamar Chase, and CeeDee Lamb, Jahmyr Gibbs and Brock Bowers, and then Travis Hunter can play offense if needed.
Okay, so... All right, hold on. Before we do the back-to-back, because I need a little bit more time to think, let me talk to all the parents out there real quick. Ask them what their child's future success looks for you guys. Think about it. Maybe it's your kids getting to travel the world. Maybe it's them owning their own business. Maybe they're just living in their own house, living a very comfortable life. Whatever that dream is, you could help them achieve that right now with a kids investment account from Fabric by Gerber Life. Fabric by Gerber Life, it was designed by parents for parents to make it easy to plan for and manage your family's financial path. With a kids investment account, you guys can start investing in your child's future today. Kids can't invest while they're minors, but a kids investment account allows you to invest on their behalf. It gives their investments more time to grow. The whole thing is online. Setting up an account could take you as little as just 5 minutes, and then you can just manage your child's account and monitor those investments right from your phone. Funds can be used for nearly anything to benefit your child. But when they're younger, it's tuition, it's tutors, it's sports, it's music classes, maybe even flag football. And then when they're adults, it is maybe starting their own business, buying their first car, buying their first house, something like that. It starts with just $20, no contribution limits to it. It's got tax advantages. It's all SIPC insured up to $500,000. There's no commission fees to it, just that low flat monthly maintenance fee. Join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their family. Start investigating your child's future today at meetfabric.com/stock-exchange. That's meetfabric.com/stock-exchange. MEET fabric.com/stock exchange. Portfolios are managed by Fort Washington Investment Advisors Incorporated. Additional services provided by Apex Cleared Corporation. All investing is subject to risk. Learn more at meetfabric.com. Okay.
By the way, that CeeDee Lamb pick takes Jonathan Mingo off the board. Just to let you know. Sucks to suck, dude.
All right, redraft. Start over. Okay. So who do you have on defense? You have Patrick Surtain
and Travis Hunter.
And Travis Hunter. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go Trent McDuffie.
He was on the board for me.
Which gives me... How many corners?
You're stockpiling defensive backs.
Yeah. So I got the 2 safeties, I got the 2 outside corners, and then I need a rusher or coverage player. Or what else do I need on offense? I need a wide receiver and I need a quarterback. All right. I'm going to take Malik Neighbors. I think Malik Neighbors' game is so perfect for flag football.
He's like CeeDee Lamb.
He is the fact that I couldn't get CeeDee Lamb, I am perfectly okay with getting Malik Neighbors. I mean, This dude, again,
talk yourself into it. Go ahead.
The way that I need to. I
always intended to do this. I never even liked CeeDee Lamb.
He's a bum. I was never going to pick him. CD? What kind of a first name is that? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We're not bringing people down. Malik's game is built perfectly for flag football in a little bit of the same way that I talked about Tyreek Hill at the top. And honestly, what makes Justin Jefferson so great as well. These guys have the ability to get off the line of scrimmage and get out of their releases unbelievably quick. Their footwork is extremely quick. They can get into their top speed very quickly. And they can change direction while maintaining speed or even accelerating speed. That's just such a huge part of playing flag football. So I wanted to get Trent McDuffie in there because I needed another outside corner that I trusted who has that high football IQ, who can play really well in zone coverage situations like McDuffie can. And then getting another one-on-one winner at wide receiver. I think what I'm probably going to do is have Malik Neighbors snap the football.
What a funny thing to say.
But I'd be very tempted for Tyreek Hill to do that because I would then give him the entire field to work with, to go left or right or deep. And that is just terrifying for any defensive back to try to handle. So one of those 2 dudes I think are going to be my center/wide receiver. But Trent McDuffie, Malik Neighbors. There we go.
Okay.
Got 2 picks left. I got a free rusher and a quarterback left. Do you have...
A free rusher and a DB.
And a DB.
And another DB, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Do you go... Oh, yeah. You go back-to-back here, and then I go back-to-back, and then you have the last pick of the draft.
Right. So, I'm going to take Xavier McKinney.
Okay. All right.
I guess I could have done that with the last pick, knowing you already took 2 safeties, but... I don't think you were going to take any Packers, but McKinney, to me, he's my best option left at safety. He's got really good ball skills. I could ask a lot of different roles with him, kind of have interchangeable safeties with him and Travis Hunter. McKinney, to me, gives me like Hunter. I could ask to. There's a world where I could have all these guys play man, and McKinney can kind of roam over the top a little bit too. This just kind of gives me way more flexibility on the defense. And McKinney the Giants have, I think, done well finding replacements after him, but letting him go now just looks crazy with how good he's been for Green Bay. That signing, in his first year, 8 picks, just the ball skills, first team All-Pro, 26 years old over there. Like, this dude's a slam dunk. So number 9, I can go free rusher or I can go another DB here. Once again, I just like how the board opened up with all the DBs. This one might surprise you a little bit.
I feel like you said that the last 4 picks.
And you're never surprised. I'm going to take Fred Warner.
Who are you picking?
Fred Warner.
Wow. Good pick.
You're surprised.
Hey, good pick.
Because Warner obviously can do the free rushing.
Yeah, I'm absolutely smoking his ass with Malik Neighbors, but good pick. Good pick.
But if you're in the red zone, I can have him legitimately match up with one of the jump ball guys. This is the best cover linebacker in football.
Yeah,
I think.
Without.
I mean, I think it's like very obvious.
Yeah.
And when this game in this condensed field gets very, very tight, I need somebody bigger. I obviously have Surtain to do that, but you're fielding a team of Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown. Like, there's a world where I'm going to have, if we're at the 1, I'm going to have Fred Warner just be right on top of an A.J. Brown type of player. So, but Warner obviously as well can be a free rusher if you need him to be.
Okay. All right, Xavier McKinney, Fred Warner off the board. I thought about taking Jair Alexander as my last corner just because of the quickness.
Forgot to mention him.
You know?
Oh, and Jair, when he's healthy, is phenomenal.
Is absolutely within this conversation. There's no question about it. So that would have taken McKinney off the board for you. I'm not taking another safety. Who would my last 2 pick? No.
Well, you have to take a quarterback with one of them, I would think. Unless you
I do have to take a quarterback with one of them. He will be my last pick. Who would you have taken at safety without Xavier McKinney? Actually, you know what? I'm just going to tell you before.
I wouldn't have taken one.
Oh, you wouldn't have taken one?
No, I wouldn't have taken one. I would have just taken all corners.
Oh, okay. So wait, who's the next corner that you would have taken? Because I'm going to take a safety next, so you're not stealing anything from me.
Oh, who's my last pick going to be?
Oh, you do have another pick.
I have one more pick.
Okay. For my free rusher, I need people to understand what makes a good free rusher here.
Yeah,
okay?
It's a weird skill set.
You are lining up 7 yards in front of the line of scrimmage. So the quarterback is often, like almost an equal 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So you almost have 12 to 15 yards to cover very quickly. You need a player who can get off the ball extremely fast, who has a good 10-yard split, who has good vertical and broad jumps, who has a good 40-yard dash, but then also somebody who is just a good natural athlete, somebody who has long arms, who if they put their arms up, they're able to get within the throwing window. They can anticipate where the quarterback's going to go so they could do that properly. I am picking Derwin James as my free rusher.
Interesting.
I'm going to pick Derwin as my free rusher, a guy who could play safety, a guy who could play in the box, a guy who could play the slot, a dude who's been a blitzer. I understand that the 2023 season was rough for him. He had like a 60.5 PFF grade. Last season, so much better, looks so much more like the Derwin James that we're used to, an 80.5 overall grade. He had really solid grades across the board. He's been through some injury himself, so he's not quite the athlete that he was coming out of Florida State, but I still think that he's got plenty of juice to get from point A to point B to affect the quarterback. And Derwin's got those long arms too. So he is somebody who has that wingspan and he's got that football IQ to be able to really rattle the quarterback. And he's somebody who, going up against Lamar Jackson, who you have, if Lamar's sitting there dancing, Derwin James can dance with him. He can at least, give him his money's worth when it comes to that agility in the backfield. So I'll take Derwin James as my free rusher, and then I am going to take Kyler Murray as my quarterback here. I think that Kyler and Lamar, in my opinion, are those two obvious picks. Although, like I said, you could throw Jaden Daniels in there as well. So Derwin James, Kyler Murray, that rounds things out before we do a little recap here.
So your corners, you ended up with Stingley, McDuffie.
Yep.
Who am I missing?
Nobody, because I'm playing, because you only have 5. So the free rusher is Derwin, and then Antoine Winfield Jr.
safeties.
Into the safeties. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to take another corner here. I have right now Patrick Surtain. Obviously, Travis Hunter can play corner or safety. I also have Xavier McKinney. I have Fred Warner, who's going to be my free rusher / red zone specialist kind of player. So I need another pure corner here. This is why I waited, because this group to me, like Stingley's gone, and McDuffie's gone, but Sauce Gardner, Christian Gonzalez,
Right.
Devin Witherspoon's really interesting in this format with all the different things he could do. CJ Gardner Johnson, I know he's not available anymore. Is he? No.
No. Because I took Stingley, yes.
I had to make sure CJ Gardner Johnson gets traded every offseason, so I had to like triple check. I'm like, he got moved, right? Again. But he's
you
a
wouldn't
funny
have been able
player.
to take him either way.
Right, that's the funny part. None of the teams he's played for, even the Lions.
Right.
So
Right.
none of the teams he's played for. This to me is down to Sauce and Christian Gonzalez. I'm gonna take Sauce.
Okay.
He's coming off a down year by his standards, the 2 All-Pros before that. But he's got 4.3 wheels. He's got incredible size. And I think that now I can ask him and Surtain to truly play. And not that I can't ask Christian Gonzalez to do this. I love Christian Gonzalez. But Surtain and Sauce on the outside with McKinney and Hunter kind of as these interchangeable DBs, especially Hunter, who can play truly corner and safety, in my opinion. I have enough size now to match up in these contested situations.
I think that that's probably the right pick for you. I thought about Sauce Gardner. I did not build my team for him to be a corner,
right?
That I would want there, but I do think that this roster here makes sense for you. So here we go. This is it. Your team versus my team. Tell the people how your team is going to line up.
All right, so at quarterback, I have Lamar Jackson. His skill players are Jamar Chase, Jahmyr Gibbs, Brock Bowers will be snapping him the ball.
Okay.
And CeeDee Lamb. I do have an option as a substitute if I want with Travis Hunter, but my base offense is Lamar throwing to Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Brock Bowers, and Jahmyr Gibbs. My defense will line up as Fred Warner as the free rusher, although there is a world where I can actually have in the red zone, if it's at the 1 or the 2 yard line, Fred Warner is on the biggest player on the opposite team, and Travis Hunter becomes the free rusher.
Travis Hunter gives you a lot of flexibility here.
Right, he does. My big corners that can play in man coverage are Patrick Surtain II and Sauce Gardner. My true safety is Xavier McKinney with his incredible ball skills. And then obviously Hunter that I think can play both in man coverage and as a safety.
So I have Kyler Murray as my quarterback. I'm a little bit more straightforward than you. My receivers are Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, and Malik Neighbors. The more I think about it, the more I like the idea of Tyreek Hill being the one to snap the football because it gives him just insane elite two-way goes to the left or right with the entire field to work with. And asking a flat-footed defender who does not have a leverage play on you, either to the left or right, inside or outside, asking somebody to not have leverage while covering Tyreek Hill is basically a no-win situation. So I'm actually going to have him snap to give him that ability to play in the space. My cornerbacks, I'm going to play zone coverage. I'm going to have Derek Stingley and Trent McDuffie on the outside to play that sort of like off quarters coverage. And then Jesse Bates is going to be my roaming over the middle of the field safety. Antoine Winfield Jr. is going to be more of my free safety, although both of those guys can interchange to give the quarterback some looks that they may not be ready for. And then my free rusher is Derwin James, who obviously gives me flexibility at the safety position as well. We would love to hear from you. This is obviously a very fun exercise for us to think about, and it's a different way to view these NFL players, which is always fun. The best way to let us know who won, Connor's team or my team, is the YouTube comment section, youtube.com/@NFL Stock Exchange. If you guys made it this far and you really enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel. We would love you forever. We'd love you to be part of the Addicts. If you are audio only, you can hit us up on Twitter and Instagram at Tampa Bay Trey, at Connor J. Rogers, as well as the Arena app, which, like we said, this show is sponsored by Arena. You can go check out the Arena app and download it anywhere that you download apps on Android or Apple. Go follow us at Tampa Bay Trey, at Connor J. Rogers, and at NFL Stock Exchange. We're doing all sorts of exclusive content over there, and we will follow you guys back on our individual accounts. This is great. I would love to hear from people. Truly, like this is a ton of fun. I genuinely think that my team would cook your team's ass, but I don't want to be drinking my own Kool-Aid over here. I would love to hear from the people as well. I think my team is absolute studs, and we could bring home the gold medal. But I think it would be a good matchup here with your team as well. So let us know what you think of our teams. Let us know where you think maybe you would have gone differently, maybe some different players that didn't get prioritized. If there's some snubs here that did not get mentioned or talked about enough or picked, let us know. Hit us up in the comments. Best way to do that. Connor, you got anything else before we get out of here?
No, fun exercise. We love doing these drafts against each other, especially when it's kind of a topical, current event going on in the world. And this is going to create a lot of discussion in not just the short term, but the long term. I think NFL players are going to get really competitive about this, and I'm kind of excited, and so will real flag football players get competitive about this as well.
They already have. They
already have. So I'm really excited to see how this shakes out. But hopefully we gave everybody a little idea today of constructing a team for a flag specific event.
We promise summer scouting is coming soon.
Simmering.
It is simmering. It's simmering. The film watching has begun. The opinions are starting to form. I'm not sure if it's going to be next week, maybe the week after. We'll see sort of what the schedules and how they line up, but summer scouting is coming soon. So we will dig into the 2026 NFL draft and start getting into that project very, very soon. We know you guys love that. For Connor Rogers, I'm Trevor Sikkema saying thank you guys so much for watching and listening to the NFL Stock Exchange podcast. We will see you guys next week.